If it's actually true that there's a bunch of Venezuelan gangs that have taken over apartment complexes and they're sort of spreading out throughout, Colorado or the Aurora, Colorado area, there's something you should probably notice about this that I've noticed. And that is that notice how they're not conquering raw land and then building something. It's because, even if they were just stealing the materials to go and build stuff, right? Notice how they're not doing that. They're stealing stuff that somebody else already built, right? Because some people can't do that, right? They either can't or they won't build anything for themselves. So instead what they do is they just steal stuff that better men have made. Rather than become better men themselves, right? They decide to just go ahead and take it, by force and say, okay, well, this is all ours. No, I mean, it's not the same thing as settling, right? Settling a land means just that. It means you show up and then you actually build a bunch of stuff. But that's what requires a bunch of work. And settling also, by the way, when you actually do all that work, also implies ownership, right? It implies ownership, but ownership also, if you recall, implies responsibility. And when you just take it, then you lose ownership because it wasn't yours to begin with, and therefore you take no responsibility whatsoever. This is not exactly unlike what we've seen with a lot of rent seeking as well, where you're not really building anything on your own and then renting it out. Instead, what you're doing is you're just agreeing to indemnify a handful of bankers who print a bunch of money out of nothing and then give it to you, and you manage a bunch of debt for them, right? I mean, like, this is where this kind of thing goes, and this is, of course, why a lot of Americans, you're being replaced, because, see, the idea of ownership and responsibility, that's part of culture. Because, see, once you invest people in, in other words, let's say that you got a bunch of people together and they started actually building a civilization, they become invested in it. When they become invested in it, you develop a culture. And yeah, bankers and rent seekers don't like that. So that's why you're being replaced in the country that was once yours.